Okay, so I'm going to be taking you through a very quick drawing today, a very quick tutorial, a guide through some of the layering processes of one of my drawings on my iPad. So this is a drawing that I do on Procreate, but hopefully the point of this video will be to just show you that a drawing that looks very complicated and very full of, crazy details is actually very simple. So by the end of this video, you'll hopefully get an idea that, it's a matter of just putting pen to paper, being confident, and just being patient through the process. And so the drawing I'll be taking you through is actually this one with this crazy fish cantilevered parasitic structure, which is one of my favorite drawings, and hopefully it will give you some useful tips. So let's get into it. It's just some crazy fictional idea I had in my head, but to kind of show you how this drawing came about. So what you're watching now is a time lapse of the drawing process. This isn't actually true to how the drawing came about. This is just the sequencing that Procreate does for you, but it does give you an idea of how this drawing essentially came to life. And funnily enough, I was actually drawing this building in a vertical orientation, and then I realized weirdly, oh god, if I twist this 90 degrees it looks like a weird fish creature. So it really was an improvised piece, and most of my drawings end up becoming improvisations because I seem to be a lot more productive when I'm just doing stuff freely and playfully. And I would highly recommend that to anyone who is trying to elevate their drawing skills and their drawing process, to just be playful and to just go for it. If you have an idea in your head, a very simple idea, a very simple shape, a very simple concept, that's all you need to kickstart the process. And as soon as you put pen to paper, you will see the magic happen. It's just a lot of us have the apprehension to put pen to paper, and that's a real shame, because as soon as you do that, you will see some amazing results. So as you can see, this drawing is starting to come to life. I've started to add backgrounds, but what we'll do in a couple of seconds is do a full breakdown of the actual layering process. You can see I'm sort of adding the greenery and adding all these plants, and this really brings the drawing to life. But when we break down the layers in a sec, you'll really see how these components came together to create this overall drawing. Another thing you'll notice with my drawings is I don't usually care to do super refined finished pieces with beautiful CAD work. I usually just want to get drawings done, and I have an idea in my head. I want to get it down on paper. It might not look remarkable, it might not look award-winning, but it's the mere fact that my ideas and my thoughts have been represented in that point in time with something visual, and that is the most important thing to me. So anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into the layering of this drawing. So as you can see, this full image is a very multi-layered drawing, and so I'll take all the layers off just so we can go back to the fundamentals, so you can see where this drawing started. Now you can actually quickly see that the background is a separate layer, but we'll talk about the background later. First of all, we should look at the very first piece of line work. Now that first piece of line work is a very simple piece of line work, as you can see, very faint lines and very rough. And then the next process is to actually define that line work with more bold lines, because the step following that is to add the render or the color. Now you can see this all works in layers, and it is a practice of essentially throwing on the colors that you think work right, but notice that the colors actually sit on top of the lines, and then there's another layer of lines that come on top, as you can see. So this is literally a multi-layered drawing without any effects applied like multiply or lighten yet. So as the layers build up, the lines and then the colors and then more lines to define it, I'm adding further details such as the plants and the greenery. So with all these things coming on top, you start to build this really rich layered drawing that starts to really come to life. And you're going to see something quite powerful here, which is the first bit of effect, which is this shadow or depth tone. Essentially, if I isolate this layer and show you what that actually looks like. It's this very simple grey, painting, but I've applied a linear burn so that when it sits on top of the color, you can see it gives it real depth. And this is a very important part of the layering process, because the more depth and tone you add to the drawing, the more it comes to life. And then you can finally see I add the background and add some foreground cloud work and some very tiny details, such as bits of plant and flying around and butterflies and bees, and hopefully this gives you an idea of how all these fundamental layers and these continual compositional process where you're continuing to add and kind of enrich the composition with all these layers and details is actually a very simple process, and hopefully gives you motivation to know that it's all very possible. This is not high level stuff. It's actually very quick stuff, and easily can be done by anyone if you just have the confidence to get started. And yeah, hopefully that was useful for you guys. Make sure you check out the rest of the videos for any more drawing guidance and architectural videos. There's a podcast on my page, so many amazing episodes with great people. Make sure you're subscribed, because I post very regularly, and see you on the next video.